Now, the truth is that um, we know that inherited disorder has been everywhere for a long time and is becoming more and more now. So there's now this sort of thing called embryo screening, which has to do with you checking out the child or the embryo before the child is being born. And of course, there are some controversies on that, which we're going to see later on. But one thing you want to remember is that when we say embryo, of course, that's not fully formed. Now, it's easier to check a child. I don't want to use the word a child. That's not the right word to use because it's not yet a child. It's easy to check the embryo when it is formed outside. When we mean outside, I'm talking about IVF. You know, IVF has to do with taking the sperm cell from the father, or sometimes people just buy sperm cell from the sperm bank and getting the egg cell from the mother, which can be bought also from the sperm bank or the couples themselves. Couples usually could use IVF, all right? So that way, get the sperm cell from the father and the egg cell from the mother into a petri dish. But of course, it's not that simple. If I'll be sincere with you, it's not just something you do careless in the lab. So when the fertilization takes place, you see the embryo formed. So it's easy for someone to take a cell from this embryo, the cells from this embryo that is outside, then check for any abnormal DNA sequence, if there's going to be any disease, because you can tell, all right? So if you can do that, then you can decide to do something to this embryo if there's something wrong. But it's harder if the embryo was inside of the mother. Really, that it's possible, but it's quite different. Now, here there's so in vitro fertilization involves the laboratory fertilization of embryo, like I explained earlier on. So you can actually take the cell, the DNA in that petri dish and check if there's something wrong, and that explains what the Human Genome Project was all about. You want to check and see if there's anything wrong with the DNA sequence. What do you actually mean by that? If there's something wrong with the DNA sequence, there'll be something wrong with the gene. Is it something? If there's something wrong, is it something that can be ignored or something that should be put into consideration? I mean, is there going to be a cancer in the? Is there a gene that will code for that will cause cancer later on? If that is happening, well, sometimes they will say maybe the embryo should be terminated, which, like I said at the beginning, has brought about sort of controversial issues, so to say. But the good thing is, of course, some diseases like cystic fibrosis can be seen before time. All of this can be seen, but the idea of the whole thing here is you're screening an embryo, and it's better done if the embryo is outside, unlike when it's already in the mother's womb, so to say. Now, having established that, you can see it here. So eggs from the mother, then sperm cell from the eggs from the mother, sperm cell from the father. So you can see fertilized egg here being produced. So they check only healthy embryo will now be inserted into the mother. Now, bear in mind, this is something I forgot to say. You know, when in this petri dish, you have multiple sperm cells, multiple egg cell taken, multiple sperm cell also taken. So which means that there will be multiple embryos. So when you check this one, if something is wrong with it, then you can discard it. I mean, that will be taken away. If something is wrong with this one, it will be taken away. But if only few ones are, okay, that will be implanted into the mother's body. This is very, very important, or very, very good to do. So you just take the good one. So the deliberation or the issue has been that, okay, so why? Because this is a potential human, so that means you have thrown two humans away. That's what some people are advocating for. All right, so this is a baby that formed from, you want to get a baby that has high IQ, that has no inherited diseases, that the vision are perfect. And for example, I do know of, I won't mention the name of a particular very, very popular musical artist, very, very popular. He's late now. This person literally bought the eggs for his own baby because he wasn't going to really get married. So he bought the eggs for his own baby from a cryobank. And what he was looking at for was a baby that has, the embryo that the has that the base of the DNA codes for a good vision. He kept saying that in an interview. I wanted a baby that he told people that would do the stuff that, okay, check an embryo that has good vision. This was very, very important. That was very, very important. I think so. The eggs, he was checking the eggs of the female of the mother that he bought. Just what I mean, mother, the person that owns the egg. So he checked out if the egg has if the genetic coding of the egg codes for protein that will give good vision and good IQ. I think those were the two things he was looking out for. All right. Now the question is this: are all good things good? What does that mean? So embryo screening is actually good, but is it really good in all ramification? And that is what brought us to this part here. So the question is, when people find out something's wrong with some embryo, what happens to it? So that has given rise to economic, social, and ethical consideration. So the embryo that is not nice or that has every issue in it will be destroyed. And that has been the issue. Like I said at the beginning, I've been emphasizing that because it's a question can be assessed on in GCSE. Like, what's the discuss the ethical considerations that has to do with embryo screening? Because once something is not right, the embryo will be destroyed. There's no point keeping it. But that has drawn attention of people. Then also, it's hard to do embryo screening of the baby, embryo. You don't use baby until the baby is born, the child is born. So of the embryo in the womb, you don't use, it's hard. You have to, that's serious, because IVF is outside. You can easily just work on the cell, but the cell is already inside. The embryo is inside. That makes it more difficult. That's why there's more issues with that one. But people still do it anyways. So now this is something you probably want to pause the video here. There's a lot here. I don't want to make the video so long. So you just pause the video here. You see the argument for embryo screening and against. So some say that, okay, yeah, it has been used to prevent genetic disorder, which is good. Some say it's okay, it can be used for family planning, so you don't want too much of children. So when you know the genetic condition of a child, you just, okay, I don't want this one, you just take out the child. You allow the child to stay, or you don't want the child to stay. Medical advances, of course, like I said, it has helped to make us understand genetic diseases more than before. Then now reducing healthcare costs. What does that even mean? Some child will, when a child is in the IVF stage, in the lab, you checked the, sorry, I kept using the word child. That's not the right word to use. The embryo has been checked and you find out that something is wrong. So you already destroy the embryo. That ends it. Or like a child that's now born with that condition, it costs more to maintain that, if you get what I mean. Then it has improved IVF success rate. So far so good. Now for those that against now argue that now it means that you're killing someone literally, because those embryos are potential life, so to say, then it means that you are discriminating. So you're saying some people that have some diseases are not worthy to be alive because you did destroy the embryo that formed. Because if you saw somebody that has a disease X, I don't want to mention a disease here on purpose. So say somebody has this, you saw in an embryo it had disease X in it, because that disease is not nice, you destroy the embryo. So what you're saying really is that people that had those that are already born, or people that could have been born, that disease is discriminated. Then of course most religious belief does not agree with terminating life for whatever reason. It means that you literally killing someone, and most religious belief don't believe in taking life. All right. Then emotional impact. Sometimes it may affect the parents. For example, someone is looking for a child and trying to get children, then they manage to have a child, have an embryo being formed, then here comes genetic engineer saying that something is wrong with the, the child. So it affects the mental, the belief, no, not the belief, the confidence of the parent. They don't feel nice because if they keep the embryo, they know the child coming is going to be having issues. If they terminate the child, it still affects them psychologically. Then there are all sorts of unforeseen consequences that can come along with that. A lot of things can come with that. People can weaponize that as time goes on, so to say. So these are the arguments for and against. If I want to take down these points, they are very important. All right. Now, for every problem, there's a solution. What does that even mean? Now, we talked about the fact that embryo screening has shown us, okay, it shows diseases or something is wrong with this embryo and all of that. But amazingly, there has been a solution, which is gene therapy. Gene therapy basically means you're trying to replace the defective gene. So, for example, you look at the embryo and you saw something wrong. It is now possible to some extent to replace the defective gene or the allele. So to say, that's what that means. Of course, also there's also social, economic, and ethical consideration to this, because some feel like, why are you modifying someone? For example, those that believe the religious standpoint states that, why do you want to change someone? Someone has been destined to be this. Why are you changing it? So you changing the gene is like you are altering what nature or God has made. That's what some people believe, like it's unnatural to do that. So gene therapy is a solution to correcting some of the defective alleles that might have been seen during the embryo screen. That's basically what that is. Thank you for being with me. I will see you in the next. Bye-bye.